Alright, so we got a really cool crossover event happening with Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis in the very beloved Final Fantasy IX with some really cool outfits, enemies, and of course, because it's Final Fantasy IX, it's got a lot of people speculating on that long-rumored Final Fantasy IX remake, and if we're gonna see it sometime soon. So if any of that sounds cool to you, feel free to click the like button, and if you want to stick around, you can subscribe as well. There's a huge back catalog of videos on my channel talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, some Resident Evil stuff, and even some fighting game stuff. So you can check it out, have some fun. Let me know how you feel. So this new information comes to us directly from the Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis accounts across multiple platforms, but they are currently doing a crossover collaboration event with the world of Final Fantasy IX, with an event that will see Cloud and Tifa face off against the Black Mage group, the Black Waltz, from Final Fantasy IX. It's been a while since I played 9, so some of the details on the characters and the story are a little fuzzy, but I do remember them being the group of bad guys that kind of terrorize Vivi, and there's a really sad cutscene that takes place in 9 where Vivi sees some really horrible stuff go down, but you get the picture. But as far as items go, it looks like Cloud and Tifa are being shown off in these trailers. Cloud gets a Zidane-inspired outfit, while Tifa seems to get an Amaranth inspired outfit. She's even got the red in her hair and a really cool looking ponytail and a brand new claw weapon to go along with it. As for Cloud, his sword almost kind of looks like a weapon from Final Fantasy IX that Zidane used. Again, it's been a while since I played, but I vaguely remember him using a dagger that looked very similar to that. And also Cloud does seem to get a new ability that puts him in that Zidane battle stance, where instead of holding the sword forward in front of him, he's holding it backwards, much like he would a dagger. And it looks super awesome, super cool. We're fighting on the airship from Final Fantasy IX. Again, the name of the airship, it's blanking on me, but I would like to revisit 9 fairly soon and just go through and reanalyze the characters and the stories. That could be a lot of fun. Now, this event will go live on November 9th, so it's going to be really interesting to see what other characters get other inspired outfits from Final Fantasy IX. Who is Barrett going to get? Who will Aerith get? Who will Zack get? So on and so forth. It's also worth noting that they've done another collaboration with Final Fantasy IX, but this one being in Final Fantasy Brave Xvus, which I have played very briefly. It was a super cool game, but I gotta shout out that collaboration in particular because it has some really beautiful artwork of Zidane, Dagger, and Vivi. And they did a crossover a few months back as well for Final Fantasy VIII, which featured Squall, Renoa, and Irvine, or Irvine, depending on how you like to pronounce his name. And the artwork for the Brave Xvus games is just outstandingly beautiful. I have one of them set up as a wallpaper just because they look so good. And one of the things I really appreciate about the artwork that they have for Brave Xvus in particular is that whoever's doing the illustrations, they're keeping the characters very faithful to their original adaptations. Take Squall, for example. In a lot of the current media for Final Fantasy VIII, or whatever Squall stars in, he tends to look very tall, lanky, he's got different clothing, he's a little over-designed. But if you look at the Brave Xvus illustration, he looks very close to how he did in the original game, which I very much appreciate. Now, with all of these cool collaborations going on with Final Fantasy IX, obviously it's got a lot of people wondering, could we potentially see that long-rumored Final Fantasy IX remake show up sometime soon? Because they're doing these collaborations with 9. Why suddenly pull out 9 from the vault and start doing cool stuff? A, it's a beloved game. People love Final Fantasy IX, and games like Ever Crisis and Brave Xvus allow them to pull from different Final Fantasy games and do these really cool crossover events. So it could just be something as simple as showing love to a game that people really care about. Secondly, yeah, it could mean that that Final Fantasy IX remake is somewhere around the corner. Again, if we look back at that NVIDIA GeForce Now leak, which was pretty accurate, mind you, Final Fantasy IX was listed on there as a remake that was going to actually come out. And there's been rumors along the way throughout this year about people having seen Final Fantasy IX in action and that it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive and that it's somewhere in between a remake and a remaster, along the lines probably of like a Crisis Core reunion. So all of this crossover talk has just got people speculating like, yeah, they're probably gonna announce Final Fantasy IX Remake sometime soon. But of course, Square Enix still has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to get out the gate before they can focus on another big Final Fantasy game like a 9 remake. But regardless of whether or not 9 is actually going to get a remake or not, it's super cool to see games like like Ever Crisis and Brave Xvus, as well as Dissidia Opera Omnia. Really just celebrate the franchise that is Final Fantasy. Show some love to 9, show some love to 8, doing cool crossovers that really kind of expand the universe. And even though it's not canon, seeing Cloud and Tifa in the world of Final Fantasy 9 dressed as those characters doing cool moves is super sick. And it's going to be super fun to actually get in action in these games and try out the new moves and costumes and weapons. And even though Ever Crisis is a big time sink and it's a grind because it's a mobile gacha game, every once in a while I'll just sit down, boot up the game, and just see what's going on in the world of Ever Crisis. And seeing 9 come to that platform is really awesome, because 9 is a much beloved game in the franchise, and should that remake actually exist, I will be very excited for it. So with that being said, that is the video. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of not only all of these cool Final Fantasy 9 collaborations, but Final Fantasy collaborations in general? And do you happen to have a favorite Final Fantasy that you are dying to see get remade, whether it be in the vein of Final Fantasy 7 Remake or something along the lines of Crisis Core Reunion? I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.